I was sitting at the family table when my father looked me in the eye and said, "You don't deserve a single thing. You've never earned it." My Aunt Carol laughed from across the room and added, "She's just here for leftovers." I felt my throat tighten. I looked around at the faces staring at me, some amused, some blank. I asked softly, "So that's really how you see me?" No one answered. Then my cousin Jason shuffled through some papers and froze. He said, "Wait, there's a file here with your name on it. My name is Lauren Mitchell. I'm 34 years old. I work as a part-time office assistant at a dental clinic, and I tutor high school kids on weekends to make ends meet. Growing up, I was the daughter no one talked about. My older brother was the athlete. My sister was the honor student. I was just there. I didn't win trophies or scholarships. I struggled to pay rent most months, and I barely got invited to family dinners unless someone needed a favor. When I did show up, I sat in the corner and stayed quiet. I wasn't rich or glamorous, but I had something they didn't expect. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, you know how much it hurts. If people look past you like you didn't matter, I see you. This story is for anyone who was told they weren't enough. If that's you, hit subscribe and drop a comment about a time someone underestimated you. Click the hype button because your story matters too. You're not alone in this. It started 3 weeks ago. My grandfather passed away and left behind a small house and some savings. Not a fortune, but enough to matter. My father called a family meeting to discuss how everything would be divided. I only went because my mom guilted me into it. When I walked in, everyone was already seated. My father didn't even look up. He just said, "Sit down and don't interrupt." My brother made a joke about me probably needing gas money to get there. My sister smirked. I sat in the back and waited. My father went through the list of assets like he was running a board meeting. Then he said, "Lauren, you've never contributed anything to this family. You don't get a say in this." I didn't argue. I was used to it. But then someone knocked on the door. A man in a suit walked in holding a briefcase. He said he was an assistant to the family lawyer, and he had documents that needed to be signed. He pulled out a sealed envelope and said, "This one's for Lauren Mitchell." Everyone went silent. That's when things got worse. My father told everyone to stay after the meeting, but he didn't invite me into the next room. I heard voices through the door. They were talking about me like I wasn't even there. My brother said I was probably making things up for attention. My father agreed. He told my aunt and uncle that I had always been dramatic and that the envelope was probably just some old paperwork. A few days later, my sister showed up at my apartment unannounced. She said she wanted to catch up, but I saw her looking around. She asked if I still had the file. I said yes. She asked if she could see it. I said no. She got angry and left. Then the comments started. Family members posted things on social media, passive-aggressive messages about people who suddenly think they're special. I saw the screenshots. I knew what they meant. It hurt more than I thought it would. But I kept that file locked in my drawer and I stopped answering their calls. What they didn't know was that my grandfather and I were close. Not in public, not at family events, but in the quiet moments. I used to visit him every Sunday when no one else bothered. We'd sit on his porch and he'd tell me stories about his life. He said I reminded him of his mother. He said I had her kindness. Before he got sick, he handed me a box of letters. He said, "Don't open these until the time is right." I kept them in my closet for 2 years. I never told anyone. What they didn't know was he was watching everything. He saw how they treated me. He saw who showed up and who didn't. And he made a choice. That's when the lawyer reached out. His name was Mr. Devon, and he had worked with my grandfather for over 20 years. He called me one evening and asked if we could meet privately. I agreed. We sat in a quiet coffee shop and he told me the truth. He said my grandfather had rewritten his will 6 months before he died. He said my grandfather specifically wanted me to inherit the house and the majority of his savings. He said the family didn't know because my grandfather wanted it that way. He also said they were going to fight it. He asked if I was ready. I wasn't sure, but I said yes. He helped me prepare. He walked me through the legal documents and explained my rights. He told me my grandfather had written letters explaining his decision. Meanwhile, my family got more confident. I heard through my cousin that they were already planning how to split everything. My father said I'd probably get a few $100s at most. My brother joked that I'd blow it on rent. They had no idea what was coming. The reading happened on a cold Tuesday morning. We all gathered in Mr. Devon's office. My father sat at the head of the table like he owned the place. My siblings sat on either side of him. My aunt and uncle were there too. I sat alone near the door. Mr. Devon opened the file and started reading. He went through the smaller items first, a watch for my brother, a necklace for my sister, then he paused. He said, "And to my granddaughter Lauren Mitchell, I leave my property located at 14 Maple Street, along with the entirety of my savings account and investment portfolio." The room exploded. My father stood up and shouted, "That's not possible!" My sister said I must have tricked him. My brother said it wasn't legal. Mr. Devon held up his hand and pulled out a stack of letters. He said, "Your father wrote these himself. They're signed, dated, and witnessed. He was of sound mind. This is his final wish." He read one of the letters aloud. My grandfather wrote, "Lauren is the only one who saw me as a person, not a bank. She is the only one I trust." My father's face went white. I looked at him and said, "You called me useless. You said I didn't deserve anything, but he saw me. He always did." No one said a word. I took ownership of the house a month later. I didn't sell it right away. I moved in and made it my own. I painted the walls. I planted flowers in the garden. I kept my grandfather's old chair on the porch. My father tried to call me a few times, but I didn't answer. My sister sent an apology text, but it felt hollow. Some relatives reached out and said they didn't know how bad it had been. I appreciated that. Others stayed silent. I was okay with that too. I didn't do this for revenge. I did it because I finally realized I was worth something. I didn't need their approval anymore. I had a home. I had peace, and I had proof that someone believed in me when it mattered most. If your family ever made you feel small because of money, you're not alone. If they dismissed you or used you, I understand. If you've been through something similar, share your story in the comments. Subscribe if you want more stories like this, and click the hype button to help others find this. Someone out there needs to know they're not the only one. You made it to the end, and that means something. Thank you for being here. If this story touched you, subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you're going through. This community is built on real people sharing real pain and real strength. Hit that hype button so someone else who needs this can find it. You're stronger than you think. I'll see you in the next one.